Where's your questions?
I don't have any. I free ball it.
We're not freeballing.
I like Joe Rogan, but better. Cool. Spencer Whiteley, thank you for joining us today on the podcast. You swang by last week, uninvited, and come and disturbed me. And I said, "Would you like to do a podcast?" And you said yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always like to swing by from in the area, Tom.
Yeah,
See ya.
I appreciate it. Spence, can you just start off like real sort of high level? Who you are, what you do at the moment with your gyms and stuff, and then I want to go all the way back to the start, probably starting with your army career would be cool. But yeah, just a quick high level where you're at and what do you do?
So I have two jobs essentially. So I work for Thames Water, largest water company in the UK, where I'm an operations manager for those. I work in the waste side of the business, so I'm dealing with human shit basically all day long. Excuse me, not very glamorous, but really fulfilling job, really diverse role, great team of people, challenging work environment to work in, as you probably be aware, sort of the water industry is getting a little bit of heat right now in the media and stuff. So great work environment, great place to work, super grateful for that. And on the other side of things, I've owned CrossFit Blockhouse with my wife, Tony, and we've been running that for nearly 11 years now. We have a membership base of around 100 members, and we run it a little bit differently to most CrossFit gyms, most CrossFit gyms have evolved into these days, which is good, the evolution of CrossFit gyms and larger membership bases and stuff. But we've chosen, through me basically opting to stay in work and keeping staffing low, we run it like a hobby gym sort of model. We run 3 to 4 classes a day, one like open gym session, and so a little bit more of a sort of smaller, more old school, how CrossFit sort of started out model. Not better, not worse, just different.
Yeah, I like it. And I was discussing with you the other day that you don't go in on Sundays, do you? And that is such a treat. I was like, if I could redo it, I would probably have that as a thing, close Sundays. But like you say, the way it is now with like the business models and the price of, we maybe touch onto it, but the price of rent and stuff for these units, you can't be closed, a seventh of the week. It's impossible for us to run. But the way you have it structured, it works really well for you guys. And like you say, more of a hobbyist gym. I think it's a really good approach. Probably there for, I was going to say longevity and a bit more chilled, but is it stressful for you guys still?
It's not super stressful, but because we've chosen that model, we've have quite a small staff number, so we are still tied in a way to a longer period of time off essentially. So yes, on a weekly basis, we get the Sunday off and really Saturday afternoon, so almost the weekends off. We do Saturday morning classes, but if you want to go away for a week's holiday or 2 weeks holiday, we've only got 3 other staff essentially who just do a few classes a week. I say just do, it's great, it's wonderful, we need them to give us that little bit of break in the timetable and cover when we go away. Plus it's fun because they're good people, it's nice to work with other people and coaches. Yeah,
that makes sense. About like on a week to week basis, it might be a bit easier to run. If you, like you say, you need to escape for a longer period of time, you've got less people to pull from. I guess they've all got full-time jobs, I take it.
Yeah, that's what I didn't allude to. Yeah, they've all got full-time jobs as well, so there's nobody in there that has the capacity to be full-time, apart from Tony. Mm-hmm. And obviously, Tony can't run, every class every day. And again, Tony being my wife, if we want to go away together, there's a gap there. So we manage it. We do manage to get away every year together for about 10 days. It just takes a lot of forethought and planning, and sometimes we have to get friends in or coaches, give them plenty of warning, and they can book time off and things like that and cover more classes for us.
Yeah, I got called up once, didn't I?
Yeah, you stepped up to the plate once, Tom. You certainly did. It was really good. The guys loved it.
It was really good fun, actually. I think I borrowed my mate's motorhome. I stayed in your car park as well. So I drove up. I definitely did like an evening, stayed the night, did the morning. I think I ended up, I had some slack time during the day. I went and got a sauna somewhere in town and then come back and coach the evening. It was good. Yeah, it was good fun. It's always good mixing it up and learning different things and training. I think a coach, like, you'd be able to just drop in here and coach a class, right?
I'd like to think so, yeah. And I'd enjoy it.
Yeah, actually. It's great. It was nice for me to come down there. So that's what you're doing now. Would you mind taking us back to maybe youth just pre-joining the forces? I think that'd be really cool to take us through your forces career through the bit that happens afterwards and then into CrossFit, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
So I'm a child of my old man I'm a pad brat, so my old man was in the RAF. So we moved around a lot as kids, Germany, UK, different Air Force bases sort of all over the world. Excuse me. And we, at the age of sort of senior school age, my parents decided that they wanted us to have a more stable education. So they sort of sent us off to boarding school, myself, my brother and my sister. He was a corporal at the time and eventually a sergeant on not a lot of money, but the RAF paid for a lot of that. So essentially we went to sort of the worst boarding school in the world, but it wasn't. I'll get into that.
The cheapest boarding school in the world.
The cheapest, what had loads of forces kids in it.
Where were you?
It's near Nottingham. It was a school called Rodney School.
Okay.
It is amazing, right? I will get into that. But it wasn't. It was genuinely a bit of a shoestring sort of private school, but really, really epic, right?
Great for you.
Great for me, not great for everyone, is the truth. I don't know, maybe personality type, whatever. I think my sister did okay there. My brother did okay, didn't thrive as much as I did. So it was very, very, very old school. We were the last school in Britain that caned its pupils. So our parents signed off on us being caned.
Perfect. Do you a favour.
Do you a favour.
That says a lot about your personality type.
My sister was in The Mirror, I think, on one of the nationals, sort of talking about it, actually, when she left school. So that just sort of kind of sets the scene for like how it was. But it was very small. There was like about 50 people in each year group. So, you didn't have big class sizes. There might be like 20 guys, 20 girls in each sort of year. But from that, we were the county and Midlands champions at rugby, athletics, the girls at hockey, cross country. So with literally enough people to scrape together teams, some teams, there wasn't enough boys in the year to make a rugby team, so they would have younger players playing up. And we were the county champions, Midlands champions. We did PE every single day, which always started with a run, and there was a choice of 3 runs. There was the grid, which was about a mile, and half of that mile was up a 1-in-1 hill. And then they all just grew from that hill. So the next one was called the barn, which is another like mile, but it always starts by going up that savage hill to the grid. And then there was the loop, which was about another mile again, which again started with that thing and then round and back down. So we were super fit.
So every day?
Every day.
Little shorts, t-shirt, no matter the weather.
Every PE lesson started with one of those 3 runs.
What's the teacher having a fag whilst they're waiting sort of thing?
The teacher was an old school guy, broken nose, wore rugby shorts every day of the year. The old school ones that are like hot pants now. Old Geordie guy, George Lewis. Just savage. But we were epic. We were mega fit.
And was there anyone? It's like I remember my school. Anyone not do it for any reason, like sickness, or was that not?
Yeah, yes, there was. There was a whole group of people that didn't do it. The school was also like a dance academy, not an academy. There was a dance part to it that the headmistress took like very seriously because that was her background. And so there was a whole load of girls, probably about a third of the girls that would dance instead of doing PE, and one lad as well that would dance as well instead of doing PE.
Is that you?
No. And then of course then everyone else just did PE. Now there's 1 or 2 in each age group that obviously didn't like it, you know, and just it must have been. This is what I'm saying. For some people, that school must have been hell. Yeah. But for some people, it was amazing.
And you didn't mind. You were quite happy getting it.
Well, no, I loved it, and a lot of my friends, we loved it.
So cool, isn't it? Training every day. PE now is
every
like,
single day,
when I was there,
and Saturdays.
Oh yeah.
Sunday's the only day off, which was church.
But you lived there. You stayed at school for Sundays. Sorry. So I was going to say at the moment, I'm not sure what secondary schools are now, but when I was at school, so I left in 2000. That was still just twice a week was PE, and like one of those was like games or something rubbish. Yeah. So nowhere near as what you were getting. That's amazing.
Yeah. Every single day, yeah. And so, we were like mega fit and mega disciplined sort of around sport and stuff, yeah.
That's so
Imagine having like 18 lads in year group and being county and regional and
in
Midlands
champions
as
well,
yeah, in different sports, just bonkers.
And you think it's majority because your fitness level was just so high?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the sort of school I went to. Everyone sort of did quite well as well educationally, which is the point as well. So yeah, it was pretty good, pretty like high achieving school. But
what age do you finish there? 16 or 18?
you could do 6th year, but I had to come out at after GCSEs. I was actually expelled and allowed to do there's a group of 6 of us who were like the core members of all the teams and the prefects and stuff. We all got expelled.
Still allowed to play sport though?
No, we got expelled about 3 months before our GCSEs.
Oh.
So yeah, together we cut along. So we were young and daft, experimenting. One of the lads got some weed. We smoked some weed. And one of the guys went back and told his parents, thinking they'd think it was like
cool, take
it on the chin. And his parents did, but his parents told another kid's parents. He went mental, dobbed us all, and we all got expelled, including their own kid. No. But we were allowed back to do our exams, and so we all came back, did our exams, and did okay.
Yeah.
And so once I left school, I went to college here in Cambridge. I was there for about a week, and I wasn't enjoying it at all. I was 16 years old. I'd lived this life of structure and kind of like being told what to do, routine, getting up certain time, all that stuff. And I just felt like I wouldn't want to say I was lost or anything like that. I just thought, this is just a bit of a DOS. I've got too many choices. I can not turn up if I want. And so I don't know. I just found it all a bit weird. And I had no plan, despite coming from a family of military background. Everyone was in the military. Like my granddad, my aunties, my uncles, like just massive my dad, large military background. I'd never thought about joining the military, but I was at this college in Cambridge for about a week, and I was just a bit fed up. And I was walking around at lunchtime, and I walked past the Army Careers Office, and I just walked in. So I walked. Not
premeditated, just straight in.
No, it's random. I just walked in.
Goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah, and there's old school. This was like 1994, and some like career sergeant sort of pulled me in. How old are you? I was 16, and he's like, well, you can. I think at the time you couldn't join the army unless you were 17 and a half, but you could. There was a couple of junior like leadership sort of schemes that were going. So basically, I spoke to them, and he told me my options and sort of what you can do in the army and all this sort of stuff. But the conversation sort of finished with, but really, you've got to go home and speak to your mum, because you can't join without your mum's signature because you're 16. So I thought to myself, I want to join the paras, right? Because I like the sort of the physical challenge that it's sort of how he described it. And so I didn't know even what they were. But so I went home and I said to my mum, look, I've just sort of walked past the careers office, I've gone in, I'm thinking about joining. She's like, oh, great, what are you thinking of? And I was like, oh, the infantry, like the parachment. She was like, over my day. She said, you are not joining the parachment. She said, if I've got to sign you in, she said, you can do what you want when you're 17 and a half. If I'm signing you in at 16, you've got to have some kind of education or career. So she signed me, she let me join, signed off on me joining the REME, which is like the engineers, electrical mechanical engineers, which supports supports other units within the army, and so that's what I did. I did a 2-year junior leadership / apprentice with those, which was absolutely savage. It was like child abuse. 16. We did like a 3-month basic training, then I continued that for another 6. You're basically in your basic training sort of for 6 months, and it was just all the instructors was infantry, had the chip on their shoulders, and they wanted to thrash kids, basically. It's just weird. But again, it was cool. I sort of thrived in that environment. I did all right, but yeah, we got thrashed a lot, but I was hyper fit. Imagine the background the school I'd come from and the discipline. It was easy. So in training, I was top of fitness, I was top recruit, I was just because of my upbringing. That is it, because of the school I went to.
Was there any, obviously you were quite well prepped for it, was there anyone who was woefully unprepared, didn't have a clue what's coming their way?
Loads. We had quite a high dropout rate. It's like 50% dropout rate, I think. Yeah, and there's some belters, obviously.
You got any funny stories? Give us one. Can you remember anything off the top of your head? Like first exercise? I was actually telling Catherine last night that one of our first exercises, I was wetting myself.
Go on, tell us.
So one of the first times you go in the field in the Marines, they're called like gruesome twosome. It's like a 2-nighter, right? Or 2 nights, I think it is. As like I say, it's the first time you go in. You're in your little poncho. They do wet and dry, so they soak you wet, obviously, and then got to go put your dry clothes on to go to sleep. And you're doing sentry, get your wet clothes back on. and they bumped us. They threw remember the old Chinese
Crackers, yeah.
Yeah, like
just
they're
flashbangs,
so loud.
yeah.
But yeah, do you know when they throw one, like 2 will go off, and then 2 fling in a total different direction. I have no
Bang,
control
bang.
over and go bang bang again. Anyway, so they bumped us, and they're like, right, pack up your stuff. Everyone's pitch black, obviously. Move back up to the top. And got back up to the top. All stood there, burger on. So you've packed up your everything. You've packed up your back and your wet clear kit, and they walk past. And it's like daylight's just coming up now. And they walk past us, full of stuff, and they're going through who's left there, like who's left this, who's left that. And
Mess tins, socks, boots. Yeah.
Boot. Whose is this fucking boot? This one person got one boot. I was like, it's mine. Just ran away with one boot. So yeah, that was one of our, like, the first time. It's just so funny. But you haven't got no clue. You've only been in training for like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 weeks maybe. And you go out there and not got a clue. You got any funny ones like that?
There's so many like that, yeah. Because everyone's a shower of shit, to start with, aren't they? That's why you're there.
For sure.
Right? You're there to, get whipped into shape, I suppose.
I do love it.
I know, it's amazing. I don't know. There's this one funny story that at the time, I didn't think that was that funny, but it does make me laugh now. We had this sergeant, our platoon sergeant. He was called Harper, and he was a Gordon Highlander. That regiment long doesn't exist, right? He was a Gordon Highlander, rough bloke, like, and proper Glaswegian, whatever. And one day, one of the corporals, whenever someone from the office shouts, they'd be like, "One man," and then someone, whoever's nearest, will run to the door and say, "Yeah, yes, corporal, what do you want?" sort of thing, for a task, basically. And our room was quite near the office, so there was this like, "One man." So I was like, "Oh, I'll go then." Right, sprinted up to the office, sort of did a rubbish sort of brace at the door, and he goes, "Whiteley, Sergeant Harper has forgot his fucking shower gel. Give this to him, but this is what you got to say to him. When you walk into the shower cubicle, you've got to tell him that you've come to lather him up, right?" And I was like, "Oh, Corporal," and he's like, "Listen to me, that is what you're going to say." So I was like, "Yes, Corporal." So I grabbed the shower gel off him, went into there, and he's behind me. And he's this mountain of a man. He was a Grenadier Guard that was a GB judo player. Absolute 6'4",
and you're
like
16.
100k. I'm 16. I probably weighed like 70k piss wet through. And so I'm like, sort of like through there, and he said, "Just creep around and tell him." So I just poked my head around and went, "I've come to lather you up, Sergeant." And he just smashed me in the face. He smashed me in the face. Everyone's howling, and I'm like stumbling back.
The corporal's there watching.
Yeah, like half the platoon's watching, like with the corporal. Yeah, he just smashed me in the face. Which at the time, and it obviously took it on the chin, but it's funny looking back. That kind of stuff. I know it's a bit brutal, but there's so many stories like that. It's just it is the making of you, isn't it?
Definitely character building.
For sure. For sure.
Okay, so you're in training. You end up being there for ages because you signed up at 16 or whatever.
Yeah, 2 years at the apprentice college. 18 months. So yeah, something like that.
And you're learning you're learning like green skills, so soldiering skills, but you're also learning technical skills?
Exactly. So we're learning. I was a weapons specialist, so you learn all about weapon systems and how to fix, maintain, repair, like do battlefield replacements, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, the apprentice scheme's kind of designed to make you sort of junior leaders as well. So you're actually doing a lot of extra military stuff as well and leadership stuff, which again set me in really good, give me a really good base for the future. So as well as learning a bit more of the basic sort of soldiering skills and taking that to sort of the next level with different programs and extra adventure training and running different courses. You're also doing a lot more leadership and trade skills at the same time. So pretty intense for like a year and a half. About a year and a half. And then you go off to the adult army essentially and finish off some finer bits of your trade skills before deploying to like your first unit. And so I did all that, and my first unit was in Germany. It was a Scottish infantry battalion called the Royal Highland Fusiliers, who were just 700 Glaswegians, which was really savage, but it's brilliant. But they're a rough old bunch, and they were armoured infantry, so we were working with like warriors and all that. But it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. So that was I went off in 97 to my first unit, so I joined in 95.
And straight to Germany?
Yeah.
How long were you over there for?
I was there for 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
And then my second unit was in Northern Ireland with the Royal Welsh Fusiliers.
Whereabouts?
Ballykelly.
Mm-hmm.
That was a brilliant couple of years. And then I went to the Royal Dragoon Guards in Munster, who were tanks, which again was
Did you have to
brilliant.
learn different skills? Which obviously you were on the Warriors before.
Yeah,
you
and
had to
then
relearn.
Yeah, so the first unit was like warriors. The second unit was all like not vehicle, just normal infantry role with a bit of SF thrown in. And then the Royal Dragoon Guards was all tanks. And then after that, I went and done some specialist, like a degree course and what's called artificer training to get a fast route to promotion and to into leadership, to come away as a staff sergeant. And then I went to the Royal Welsh, which was in Tidworth. And they were warrior infantry again. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's where I finished in
sort of full circle background.
Yeah,
warrior again.
Yeah, I finished with the Royal Welsh. Yeah.
So did you get a degree? You got a degree, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, electrical mechanical engineering. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a nice thing to be able to get. All paid for, all done.
Yeah, that's a 2-year course in the military at a place called School of Electrical Mechanical Engineering in Borden. Not too far from sort of your neck of the woods, actually. And that is a degree course.
Good course. Did you enjoy it?
It's okay. It's good. It's pretty intense academically, but also leadership wise. So they're again developing you as a leadership, because you go there as a sergeant. But you're only a sergeant for the 2 years on your course, and you leave as a staff sergeant
so
or
you
like a colour sergeant.
Two.
Yeah. So you could have essentially jumped 2 ranks if you weren't already a sergeant when you went on the course. So there's a lot of focus on, again, leadership. There's quite an intense. It's hard to get on the course, so you don't just get put on it. The selection process for that is pretty stringent. It has a really high dropout rate, artificer selection. So again, that was a bit of an achievement to get on that. So I was very young when I got on that as well. I think I was, from memory, like 25.
Okay, yeah.
Which is really young. The average age is probably about 30 on it. So about 5 years ahead of the game or something like that.
It's decent.
It was good.
And at this point, so we'll go into it, but you're sort of thinking long term, you're going to stay in the army rest of your life sort of sketch.
Maybe not rest of life, but full career for sure. So, a 22-year career.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I mean, yeah.
Highly, highly likely I'd have bet anything on I'd been commissioned.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my peer group were, because you've gone down that kind of slightly...
At a young age as well.
Yeah, and you've gone down that artificer route, which sort of lends itself to late entry commissioning and stuff like that. So highly likely I'd have ended up commissioned and probably done about 30 years. I've got some friends that are sort of in my stream that are still in. Not many. Most of them have sort of dropped out the back of that now, having been commissioned and extended from 22 years through to sort of
30?
Yeah, mid-20s, 30-year careers, yeah.
Well, two things. So how old are you now? Just so I don't know.
47
okay,
now.
47. So you could still be towards the tail end, right?
I'd be about there, yeah. If I did the 30 years, I'd be about there now, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like doing that and going that route at a young age is so cool. So you then go back to I was going to say this. You're a fit boy. Were you doing a lot of fitness then, or what did that look like?
Always, yeah. So there's a good story. In my first unit, the Royal Highland Fusiliers, I was a pisshead. Everyone was a pisshead, right? You're young. You're in Germany. Mm-hmm. It was 6 Deutschmarks for a crate of Becks, right? 24 Becks. 6 Deutschmarks is £2.
Oh my goodness.
For 24 bottles of beer. You got 17, 18, 19-year-olds living in the block. You could go to the NAFI, which is like the Navy, Army, Air Force Institute, like the shops and bars that are sort of there. And you could buy like a whiskey and Coke, or, a shot and a mixer for 30 pfennings. A 10p.
That's cheaper. It's cheaper than water.
Bananas. Yeah. Like, it was literally cheaper than water. You could buy, people would buy these big giant 3-litre bottles of vodka for 15 Deutschmarks, so £5. Oh. So it was crazy. It was a different world. Everyone was sort of work hard, play hard. I don't regret a minute of it. It was life. It was different, right? Yeah. I don't think it's great now, and I'm glad my son doesn't lead that life. But I had a great time, and a lot of us did. Some people didn't turn out so well off the back of that, but
sure.
Whatever. Okay, it was a different culture. It was a different environment. So it, we was always on the piss, we was always doing our thing. And I remember we used to have PT, company PT, like physical training, on like a Tuesday and a Friday morning. Now, we were always drunk on a Friday morning because Thursday night was like the first night of the weekend. Oh, I shudder to think of it now. I'm not teetotal now, but I don't drink a lot anymore. And I was absolutely wasted. I probably had about 2 or 3 hours sleep. And I remember sort of waking up, obviously feeling terrible, being woken up saying, we've got pee, come on, hurry up, get on thing. And I was late. And I threw flip-flops on and ran to the gym. Because being late, it's like a fate worse than death. And I got there and I sort of screamed in, didn't even brush my teeth. I must have stunk of booze. This wasn't totally uncommon, by the way.
No, it's quite normal.
But so I'm there in flip-flops and they're like, I forgot it was the testing. It was our mile and a half, BPFA, basic personal fitness assessment.
Yeah.
So a mile and a half all-out run, which you got to do in under 10:30, and I think some push-ups and pull-ups or something. I can't remember. Sit-ups, push-ups, yeah. And I could do it, stood on my head, like I was really fit. But I did it pissed in flip-flops in under 8 minutes, so a mile and a half. Pretty good.
That's decent.
In flip-flops, pissed.
That's so funny.
And I remember coming off it, and it was I was about to get charged and bollocked and all the rest. But I think because I went and beat everyone, and then smashed all the other bits, my corporal, instead of bollocking me, just came up to me afterwards and went, you're lucky you smashed that. You're going on your PTI course, which is a physical training instructor's course, right? Which I was actually chuffed about, but I basically got told I was going on it. But I was more than happy to do it. So again, very young, I went on that course. So I was probably at unit for about 6 months. I got put forward to go and do my physical training instructor's course, which was, at the time, again, quite an arduous, difficult sort of course to do. But it was an excellent course. I did that and then became like unit physical training instructor as part of a side part to my job, not full-time physical training instructor, it's like a side hack to my job. I'll take like the engineers or whatever for PT and sometimes HQ company and things like that. So your original question is about like, how did you sort of physically, were you fit through that? Yeah, I was. And also I played quite a decent level of rugby all the time as well in the army. So I was always trying to lead by example with the PTI stuff. I was always, very capable physically. I was like I say, like always in the unit rugby teams, the core rugby teams, the Army Germany rugby teams, stuff like that. So playing at quite a good level of rugby as well at the time. So always fit. Like fitness was always like part of my persona, definitely part of my sort of the makeup of like who I was, and something that I really hung my hat on and felt gave me that sort of leading edge and something I took a lot of pride in. So I always focused massively on fitness.
Yeah, that's cool because some in the Marines we trained every day. Like you had to train 8 o'clock in the morning every day. You trained like it was the first thing you did every single day. I know some of the army regiments it's not, so you can sort of get away with it a bit. If you didn't like it, you could sort of shy away and be busy in the office sort of thing. So it's cool that you kept that up. Can you just timestamp where we are now, as in what year we're at when we're back with the Welsh?
Oh yeah, so. Finished my artificer training course, I think from memory, 2005. It would have been about 2005. Yeah, it would. Okay. And then I was posted to the Royal Welsh, so in Tidworth, Armoured Infantry Unit, as a weapons artificer. I spent the first like 9 months in an office function there. I pushed pretty. So the way they work is. The REME, the Royal Electoral Mechanical Engineers, create like not a company size, but a workshop that with armoured infantry is normally about sort of, I might get this wrong from memory, it might be 60 men and women strong or whatever. And you have like a HQ element that looks after a lot of the maybe the wheeled vehicles, some of the tracked vehicles, and like HQ company, and then you'd have like the fighting companies. A, B, C, D, whatever companies with like 12 to 14 warrior fighting vehicles, and you'd have a team called a fitter section of engineers that are called fitter section, and they become embedded in the company, and they have a couple of their own armoured vehicles, and you literally just one tactical bound with the sergeant major behind them across the battlefield.
And you're going to help where's needed.
Yeah, battle casualty replacements, and all that sort of stuff, recovery and everything. So But traditionally, weapons tiffies would never get that role because they like it to be a vehicles tiffy, because a lot of the focus is on keeping the vehicles moving and running and working and everything. But I managed to convince the OC of the LED and the Sergeant Major that I was more than capable. I spent my whole life with armour. I'd been in fit sections my whole career. I wanted to do that. I didn't want to be in HQ. I wanted to be out there with with the companies. So that's what I did. I managed to they sort of give it to me in the end. I'd nagged them a bit. I sort of proved my competence, and then I was artificer of Rorke's B Company, 2 Royal Welsh, which is called Rorke's Drift Company. It was brilliant. So, and then we did all our pre-deployment training, and we went off to Telic 10 in Iraq. So, and we deployed in I think it was April 2007. So, how infantry battle groups work is you normally have like 3 infantry companies and then 1 tank company, and or like vice versa. And so essentially we were you have a warrior. You might have a battalion that's like got 3 warrior companies and 1 like support bulldog company from a different infantry battalion, and then vice versa. So 1 warrior, 3 bulldog.
Okay. What's a bulldog?
Bulldog's just like a 432. It's like a battlefield taxi, which is, it's like an old school version of a warrior, but not as good. They're rubbish, right?
Yeah.
And they've got no decent armaments on them or anything else. So they're not that commonly like deployed in theatre. So I was with 4 rifles. As part of Royal Welsh, we deployed as part of 4 rifles battle group to Iraq, to Basra. And the two Royal Welsh battle group, who's the actual battalion I was with, were working out of the contingency operating base, clearing a lot of the routes into the city and doing some work in the city and looking after the resupplies and stuff like that. And we, as 4 Rifles battle group, were the warrior company, Rorke's Drift Company, Royal Welsh, that were the in support of 4 Rifles battle group, and we were in the city doing a lot of the major tasks in the city, taking out the alphas, major targets, working again. The SF groups would go in and target, and we'd like support them and all the rest. So that was sort of our role in the city. It was Telic 10, so this is when the sort of Telic 9 and 10 were probably the worst in terms of battle casualties and contacts and all the rest of it, for the whole of the period of the sort of Iraq War, for the British contingency anyway. And got pretty hammered. We had a lot of dead in the first sort of 3 months. It was pretty awful, actually. Got to the point where our resupplies were getting so abused. We're talking about airdrops. We're on like limited rations because we couldn't get enough. People were just dying on the convoys, all left, right, and centre, trying to resupply Basra. And the city was closing down, so we were there to basically hold the fort. We were in Saddam Hussein's old palace in Basra on the river, called Basra Palace, and operating out of there. There was a unbelievable amount of indirect fire coming in, just constant bombardments of rockets and mortars coming in.
Do you have any protections up?
Yeah,
the goalkeeper. Or
phalanx.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a bit hit and miss, better than nothing. It sort of worked sometimes, didn't work other times. A lot still got through.
Yeah.
Fortunately, a lot of people more than you can count on one hand died just through indirect fire in the palace.
Yeah, it's indirect fire. Someone shooting, people don't know, shooting
from
the
outside
coming in. Mortars,
Chinese rockets. Yeah, exactly that, yeah. And then obviously still having to go out normal under the cover of darkness, not always, unfortunately.
Yeah. Some
terrible decisions made there. And go into the city and do other missions and operations in the city. At the time, everything was heightening pretty bad, we were the insurgents knew that we were planning a withdrawal. It was on the political cards. It was the way it had been going for ages. So we were kind of like last stance. We closed down the small HQ element, another small HQ element in the middle of the city a few months before, and that withdrawal was pretty terrible, and people died on that as well. So they were throwing everything, the last chance saloon, throwing everything at us. Sometimes you weren't even allowed to retaliate, which was terrible for morale, right?
Talk about that. So the rules of engagement for you guys then, or what were?
No, this was more, of course, rules
Normal.
for engagement pretty normal
Yeah,
when
okay,
you were out
fine.
on a fighting foot. But often we would just take all this indirect fire and not have the green light to go in and do missions into the city
Yeah,
because
okay.
for political reasons,
Yeah,
etc.
makes sense, yeah.
You know, more complicated than I'm
Yeah,
giving
for
it,
sure.
giving it.
I
So-
thought you meant your ROEs were changed.
No,
they were fine.
more complicated than I'm giving it credit for,
Yeah,
but it
for
was
sure.
a political standpoint, obviously. But we're pretty tough on morale, you know, when people are dying around you,
You
if
can't
you're
do anything
indirect fire, you can't do anything about it. So anyway, I cut a long story short, on August 15th, 2007, we were getting back on the front foot. We were out and we were doing things back out in the city. Morale was sort of raising up. And it was mid-afternoon probably. I was called for an O group, so, you know, to plan for a mission sort of that night. And I literally I was in like the engineering sort of area going across to the company commander's like digs to go and have the O group. And I just came out of this building, took about 3 steps, and it felt like a vacuum of air all around me, the loudest bang I've ever heard. And then I'm just laying on the floor with my ears ringing, like, oh, wow, that is bonkers. What has just happened? And essentially, a mortar had basically landed at my feet, the first of a volley that coming in. So I was at no pre-warning, no alarm went off. It just literally landed at my feet. Luckily, I was on, like, hard standing. 1 foot left or right, I'd have been in, like, shingle. I was on, like, a path. So it obviously hit the path, concrete, and and the shrapnel from the mortar and a bit from the path came up into me and around me, highly, you know. If I'd have been, like, 1 foot left or right, I'd have been in, like, pebbles and stuff. So, I definitely would have died. But as it happens, it took me out pretty bad. You know, my right leg was, half my quad was torn off, half my hamstring, femur was fully broken. I had a inguinal canal femoral artery bleed on the right hand side. Left leg had shrapnel in it. Stomach was like wide open with sort of hanging out. I had a punctured lung, punctured through my chest wall. My thumb was blown off. My right forefinger was hanging off as well. Another shrapnel into my stomach on this side. So I was just fucked. I had a puncture. I couldn't breathe. My leg was like a right angle was hanging off. My stomach was hanging out. So I'm definitely dying here.
And so, are you the only casualty that you?
Only casualty.
Yeah, okay. Obviously,
Only
you didn't know that at
casualty.
the time, right? You're laying there.
Yeah,
What are you
correct.
thinking? How long were you laying there till you're like?
Wide awake the whole time. So, you know, just
Brilliant.
laying there and just thinking, fuck me. Like the ringing in my ears, the pins and needles through my whole body. Not the pain like you'd imagine.
Have you
like
seen
localised
your
pain.
wounds? Have you like looked down? Do you know what's going on?
Yeah, I know exactly what's
You're not
going
trying
on.
to put your stomach back in, right?
No, so I'm just like, I started shouting, help me, I need some help, you know, like obviously a bit more frantically than that. I probably wasn't
Right.
back up because I'm with, no, I was in bits, so I was shouting for help. And an officer of I won't mention his name, I won't give anything away, but someone ran around the corner, looked at me and ran away. Now, I like to think, I've never heard or spoke to him since, I'd like to think he was
Got to get some help.
calling for help, whatever, okay? So let's just say that's what he was
Fine.
doing.
Okay.
But 2 or 3 of my muckers came around the corner, heard me sort of shout for help, and then went to work on me, basically. A couple of guys that were in my direct team and a couple that weren't. And, sort of started dragging me into cover, patching me up a bit, throwing some like anticoagulant stuff into my bleeds and wounds, giving me morphine, all that good stuff.
Are these guys pretty good at? They've had some exposure to trauma. These guys, or do you think this their first hands-on one, and it's one of their friends straight away?
So they'll have all seen trauma at a distance on some of the ops. Certainly, run out on, you know, watching through TI.
Yeah, but this is their first hands-on dragging of someone.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's full on.
It's full on. Yeah.
Full on.
And something I didn't appreciate for years was how much worse it affected them than me, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Um,
So they drag you into cover.
Dragged me into cover. I remember being dragged into cover, and when mortars and things come in, everyone's drills to try and get into cover. There is buildings everywhere. It's a fucking palace. So, but no matter where you are, you might just dive behind some Hesco bastion, you know, like a semi-permeable wall, or dive into a building or whatever. And there was like a restroom in like the workshop area, and it was full of loads of people just dived in there because it was quite hard concrete building. I sort of remember being dragged in there and people's faces turning fucking white, and so I was thinking, this is shit, not good. And then cut a long story short.
So you got a medic on you?
No,
qualified medic. No, so it's just the guys, all their kit they carry on them to help.
Yeah. And then within probably a few minutes, we obviously had a field hospital within the palace, and someone came sort of round in a Land Rover or snatch vehicle, whatever. And then they were trying to get me to the main sort of area where there's a couple of doctors, whatever, and field medic, proper medics there then. And I remember thinking, don't take me back out of here. I'm in hard cover.
And is it still rounds coming in?
Yeah, so there was still a little bit of IDF coming in and stuff, which is not ideal. But anyway, you know, one of many acts of true courage from other people probably contributed towards saving my life. Got me out of there, got me over. It's only hundreds of meters, probably like 300 meters away, around the corner and into another building that was probably Saddam Hussein's old, like one of his old sort of outbuildings, where there's this field hospital set up. And I've got all sorts of weird memories, some that are probably a bit true, bit not true. I don't know, it's all a bit patchy, but essentially they're working hard on me then to keep me alive because there's a lot of blood loss and stuff and all the rest. And a chopper that was obviously a Casevac was called. I was eventually rescued by a Merlin team, who by all accounts probably with the IDF and that still going on or in the area probably shouldn't have come in, but they did. Mm-hmm. I later met the pilot. That's another story.
Oh, that's cool.
But I remember being on the chopper and I remember dying. Basically,
yeah. So it
was about 40 minutes. No, Merlin.
Okay, yeah, you said that on the Chinooks. I thought they were called like Merc Crews or something.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, Merc
yeah.
Crews,
Okay, but you got picked up in a
Merlin. Yeah, and I remember just suddenly feeling a bit safe once I knew I was on the way to hospital because I felt like I was just fighting to stay alive and not go to sleep and all the rest. And then I remember just being in the helicopter and just thinking, oh, I'm all right now. And I was like, oh.
Don't feel too bad.
Yeah, I want to go to sleep. But that's me dying, right? So I'm like, oh, and then the two ladies in there, I remember them fucking screaming, slapping me, don't you dare go to sleep, all the rest. And literally the whole, just sinking into yourself, the whiteness, the relaxation, the ultimate, like, no
getting
stress.
Warmth or anything like that.
Warm,
I've
fuzzy,
heard of that before.
Glow, just ultimate relaxation.
The only place you want to go is there.
Only want to go.
You don't want to come back into a helicopter.
Just like, and then getting battered to not do that. I think that happened twice.
Yeah.
Got to surgery.
So when they take you,
So they took me back to the contingency operating base, which is like probably 10 minutes in the chopper.
Is that Basra Airport?
Correct. Yeah, it's Basra Airport. Yeah, and there's a proper field hospital, with surgeons and surgical teams and all the rest. So then they saved my life, saved my leg there. I was probably there for about 18 hours, I think, and then I was flown back to UK at low level because of a lot of open wounds and stuff like that.
Do you know what you're flown on? What sort of plane you on? RF?
Yeah, it was definitely an RF plane. Yeah,
like a Herc or a Civi.
It'd be a Herc.
You reckon? Okay, yeah. Can you remember it?
No,
Really?
not at all. And then I was put in an induced coma for about over a week in Birmingham Celiac Hospital, where sort of life support, whatever. The family were there.
This is what I mean. Like I was about to bring that up. Like for you, you don't know what's going on. Your family have like at what point was Tony informed? Morgs informed?
So Tony was informed like the night, I think, that it happened, where I was probably in Basra still, and sort of told, it's hit and miss. We're not sure exactly, if he's going to come through, but we need to sort of tell you. Morgan was only like 3, I think, or something like that. 3. So he's very young. I think Tony rang my mum to tell her. My mum went fucking mental. I need more information, Obviously, she's fucking my youngest son. She's like in shit state as well. But yeah, so Tony got the knock on the door, Don't know if he's going to make it through the night sort of thing. So it's all pretty traumatic, for them. I think more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think, from memory, I think 5 days a week or something in a coma. In Celiac Hospital. And then I came around from that. Obviously, I had leg saving surgery and stuff like that, and was restabilised and all the rest, and a lot of internal work done and everything. And I spent, I think it's like 4 weeks or something in Birmingham Hospital, and then I started my journey at Headley Court. So Headley Court would have been the main rehabilitation centre for the military at the time. Remember, Afghan was hot, Iraq was hot.
Yeah.
It was the busiest it's ever been. Never seen so many sort of battle casualties in the British Army for decades, since the Second World War, whatever. So it was a pretty cool, enlightening experience to be in and around a lot of, you know, people in a similar position. Many a lot worse than me, many not as bad as me. Like, just a real mix, you know. And I spent nearly 2 years there. So I'd have got there in like end of September 2007 or something. And I was there on and off. You know, you do like 4 weeks on, a week off or something. And I was there for about 18 months, something like that.
And what are you doing whilst you're there?
Intense physiotherapy and rehabilitation. So obviously at first it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
First you can't even get
You're
out of bed,
right?
and then you're progressing through to to hopefully being fit and well, or as good as you can be, sort of thing. After 18 months, I could basically walk with a stick and do most things like with my hands and stuff and everything. So I should have stayed really probably another cycle or two. So probably another 2 or 3 months.
But you're done with it by then.
I was done with it. It's a great place. There's amazing people. Really amazing. Super grateful for it. But I was done. I was getting in my own head a little bit with the environment that was being created there. There was a compensation culture growing amongst injured soldiers. There was Help for Heroes had massively taken off, and there was people almost becoming like
stars.
Yeah. And caring more about compensation than healing themselves. Many not,
for sure.
Some, and it just done my head in a bit. And so I finding myself, and others did as well. Quite a few other friends I had that were seniors there sort of felt a little bit the same way. And I just felt like, I'm not going to get resentful of this. Has been an amazing life-saving opportunity. I need to just get out of here and crack on. So I did.
Just one on that. So obviously you got there. You got there and you're still bed-bound. You can't walk. You can't do anything. Like, emotionally, where were you? Like, were they said right from the start, you'll be able to walk in X amount? Or was it always, you know, where were you, like, on the journey? Were they ever like...
No, I think they said they probably said I wouldn't run or anything like that. They, they'd probably walk with a limp and, all the rest of it. And basically, I struggled for a long time with function and range in my right leg and knee and everything. So there was like, you probably won't ride a bike because you'll never get that sort of knee flexion and stuff. And in the end, I got it all back.
Yeah,
over a lot of time. A lot of time though. But the prognosis sort of you'll be all right. You'll cut around with a bit of a limp. And then I left Headley Court and I went back to under the doctors at my army unit, and then I basically got medically discharged. So
did you want to be in the army anymore?
So the truth is I kind of had a choice. The medical officers and the unit officers, to be fair, with the Royal Welsh were brilliant. My option was basically, we'll find you a desk job. You can do another. But bearing in mind, I was still quite young. I probably had 10 years left in the army.
So you've done 12. You got your half pension.
No, a bit more. I'd done about 14 years plus 2 junior service. So I probably had like 8 years adult service left, and I was a staff sergeant. They're like, well, you could do a desk job, but you're going to be non-deployable. I was like,
yeah, it's not what I signed up for.
Fuck off. It's not what I signed up for. I'd rather just cut away and make a second career of it. I've got time. What would I have been? I can't remember. I was about 30.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got time for another career, and I don't want to be. So I would always be a little bit like of a piss taker for those that like swung the lead a bit, that were on the sick all the time. And I was like, although I had a good reason that I'd have been like a little bit disabled, I was like, I'm not into that. So I just got out. I thought that, I'd rather be useful somewhere else.
And what did you have when you left? Were you had any ideas about anything? When you're like, I'm thinking of leaving, was there anything, I could go and do X or I can go and do Y?
No.
And you've not heard about CrossFit at this point?
Hadn't heard about CrossFit and didn't know anything. It's all changed now. Like there's massive like careers fairs and opportunities to which I'm actively part of. I divulge a bit, but I work for Thames Water now, and I actively recruit out of the military. I'm part of a team that goes to military days. We hold military leavers recruitment days. I really help bring people in from the military into our business and we're part of the Gold Award scheme throughout the UK that helps veterans and stuff get back into business.
Yeah.
But there was none of that when I left.
Nothing.
No, it didn't exist. So, but I was very lucky. My life's full of luck. I'm a lucky man, right? I was sort of hobbling around walking my dog with a terrible job. So I was scared of not having a job. I need to provide for my family. Do you know what I mean? I was still limping a bit. I was still a bit, walking with a cane and stuff. And I was working for AES Systems, which was, again, I'm grateful they gave me a job. But it was like on trials and development at Bovington, which is like where a lot of our armoured brigade in the British Army, do all their training. And so I was working on engineering, bridge laying vehicles, Titan and Trojan, and mine clearance vehicles for the new versions of that, and I was working on the trials of development with that, and it was still like, but I was just doing a bit of a odd job sort of role. It was beneath what I'd got to within the military, so I felt like I'd taken a step back, and I was working away from home all week with a small group of guys, all very nice people, but I just felt like, well, I'm wasting my time, and I didn't like being away from my family because I kind of left the army to be away from family, but I just I needed to provide. And on a weekend, I bumped into an old friend of mine, Sean Anders, who was one of my sergeant majors at my very first unit. Privates and sergeant majors don't normally get on that well, but we played rugby together, so we were kind of like professional in word, but mates, right? And he went on to he is a good friend of mine still. And he basically got out of the army and got headhunted by someone. And they normally only take on like commissioned officers or whatever. But he had a word to this headhunter for me. He said, look, this guy's had a bit of a shit time. He was a staff sergeant. He wasn't commissioned, but will you have a look at him? So I went in for an interview with a headhunter, basically. And they thought they saw something in me, obviously, and then gave me hooked me up with some interviews, which I went to Thames Water, the first people they hooked me up with. And they actually offered me 2 jobs. So then I chose a certain stream within Thames Water and haven't looked back since. I've been with Thames Water since.
That's so cool, isn't it?
Wicked, yeah. And a great company to work for, Thames Water. Like, really, really good, really diverse. I got to work on the Olympics in part of like a team that was troubleshooting and problem solving to keep, helping with the flow of the Olympics, working in London and stuff. And I've been on various other projects since. It's a good, diverse, interesting career. Totally different from the military, but it's cool.
Yeah, I don't often hear people say how much they like their jobs as well. So you've always been, since I've known you for like 12 years now, like every time you speak about it, you always speak highly about them, which is really cool.
That's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
At what point did you find CrossFit then? Like where were you? What were you doing?
So my missus, so I was like trying to stay fit. Like I've tried to stay fit from the minute I got injured. I crept out of my bed at hospital, went to the rehab room upstairs and was trying to lift weights and fell out my wheelchair and had to get rescued.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then when I was in Headley Court, I was trying to do always more than I could because I just didn't want to be a mess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I left the army, I was at the local leisure centre and just trying to keep fit within my limitations and all that stuff, right? And trying to continue to rehab myself. And my missus at the time was instructing in the leisure centre, taking spin classes and Zumba style stuff and all the rest. And she was looking for other opportunities in the town, and I think she's Googling gyms in Andover or whatever, and this CrossFit gym came. We didn't know anything about it, and I think she went she rung them and said, have you got any work there? I'm in the fitness industry. I wouldn't mind taking some classes, or whatever. And the owner was kind of well, it's a bit different, but come on and have a look.
That's good of them, right?
Yeah, of course, right? So she said, "Oh, will you come with me? I don't know. Will you come over with me?" And I sort of said, "Yeah, of course, yeah." So we drove over and
what's your leg like at the moment? Could you squat?
No. I'm pretty sure I could. I was walking with a limp or with a stick sometimes. From memory, yeah. I certainly was not doing any heavy loading through my legs, jumping, running.
Okay.
I think I was walking without full knee flexion and all that sort of stuff. And So I walked in and like, can you imagine it?
What
like,
year is this? What year?
It's going to be like 14 years ago.
Okay,
like, 11. 11, something like 10, 11. No one's heard of CrossFit.
No.
And I walk in and there's a load of fucking weirdos in board shorts, rugby socks pulled up to their knees, swinging off a rig. I'm like, oh, this looks sick. This looks like the army used to be. And so this owner's like talking away and explaining this stuff. And I'm just looking at people doing daft shit everywhere. And I'm thinking, oh, this actually looks quite good. This looks like it's not the gym that I've been in, just on my own, sort of meeting the odd person, trying to, just do weights in the weight room. This looks kind of interesting. And he explained all about it. And we ended up, instead of Tony sort of getting a job there, we ended up just joining, and just starting our like CrossFit journey. So that's where I found CrossFit.
That's so cool. And how was he with adaptive movements for you? Or did you just have to, was it sink or swim back?
No, we of course we worked together, discussed things, and I not stupid. I knew what I could and couldn't do, and then just tried to progress them fast. Yeah, I couldn't. I had no ability to jump. I couldn't jump to a 5K plate, and I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
So we're doing box jumps, and everyone's like jumping on a box. I'm like, I literally can't jump to a plate.
My goodness.
What the fuck? Why can't I do that? Like, because I remember I cut my rehab joint. I don't want to undersell like how well the rehab centre did with me in the military, but I cut it a bit short, so I didn't get to there. So I learned a lot of that through
trial and error
and scaling of CrossFit. The scaling of CrossFit is the answer.
Yeah, that's so cool. So you're down at this gym. You can't jump on a 5 kilo plate. At what point do you realise you need to set up a CrossFit gym? Because that's exactly what I did.
So
second session.
No, we were buzzing for it. We got right into it. Board shorts and all pretty early on.
I don't know, why do we pull our socks up so high?
Don't know. It's weird. It's horrible. Have you watched some old looked at some old pictures?
Board shorts and socks up high.
Embarrassing, mate. But I just drank the Kool-Aid, was fully balls deep in it, and then a couple of years in, I just slow progression, and then I started I want to trying to compete. I want to try and beat people and stuff like that. And that old competitive sort of spirit came back, and that ability. And over a few years, just got better and better and better at things. Over it's a long journey. It's all part of the same thing, isn't it? Just scaling and rehabbing and all that. And I think we're with that gym for about, I'm going to say about 3 years. No, maybe 2 years. Anyway, 2 or 3 years. And then for certain reasons, I left that gym and ended up setting up in my garage for a little bit. I was training out in my garage, basically, for probably a year, something like that. And then my mum was diagnosed with a really aggressive cancer. She died. And she left me her house, which I'd been paying for the last God knows how many years, because she was destitute, basically, right? So she gave me it in the will. And so I thought, I'm not just going to spunk that money. I thought I'd invest it in the gym. So I thought, why not? I'm training out of the garage. Tony's got these qualifications. We've both been doing CrossFit for 3-4 years. We've both got our certifications, level 1 stuff. And then we used that. It wasn't loads of money. It was 120 grand. Mm-hmm. And put it into buying a commercial unit and then starting a gym.
The one you're at now? Yeah.
The one we're still at, yeah. So we've owned that gym now for over 10 years. Now, like I say, coming up 11 years. So we bought the unit and the equipment. We were going to have to get loans for the equipment. Back in the day, you could open a CrossFit gym with about 30k.
Yeah, probably even less.
Maybe less. Yeah, maybe like 20. You don't go big. You open with 4 rowers. 8 sets of barbells, kettlebells, no echo bikes,
no skis,
no C2 bikes, no skis,
no runners.
It's rowers. It's everything you use in the open. Yeah. That's it. That's all you needed.
No dumbbells.
What you use in the open. No, dumbbells come a couple of years later, 2017.
When they come in, everyone, all box owners
oh my God, what, we need dumbbells in the gym? This is ridiculous. So we were going to have to get a loan for that 20 grand. But I remember we're buying the gym, and I was into all, and the sale was just about to go. It was like a week before the sale finalised. And the salesman just nonchalantly goes, "Oh, by the way, this sale, it used to be our mortgage company related to the bank. it was a mortgage storage building, mortgage document storage building, and for some reason, something to do with the banks or whatever, you don't pay VAT.
Oh, wow.
So we've accounted for like 140k, which is all the money I'd got and saved and everything. And actually, I was like a 20k break in it. So we bought all the kit cash, and we've never had overheads. We've never had overheads for equipment or rent in that gym.
That's beautiful.
Which is all part of this model. I'm not holier than that. I'm not clever.
No.
It's just how the chips have landed, right? And how we've used the money.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, of course we've got overheads. There's still overheads in the gym. There's still ground rent. There's still all your costs. There's still heating, electric, all the taxes, insurances. It's not a given, but the two of the big numbers. We weren't from day one in debt with equipment. We weren't in debt with rent.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then, so you've been running that gym for 10 years, which is epic. Like, it's like running a business, and you having a full-time job, a proper job, and then you and Tone running the gym, which is wicked. And then I want to go on, not just touch on, like dive deep into. At one point in 2011, you couldn't jump on a 5 kilo plate, and then go into the CrossFit Games as a master 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times. So what was the first year you qualified as a master?
21.
You had 10 years from not jumping on the plate. My maths is good, isn't it? 10 years to go from not jumping on the plate, not being able to run, to go into the CrossFit Games as a master, which is a high standard, higher than anyone who trains at my gyms, higher than I've ever been. So that's a huge progression. So that's just not really one thing. What would you say helped you on that progression?
Just consistency.
Really?
Never, ever breaking from it. So I haven't stopped doing it. I haven't gone for months and gone, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not doing this. I've left that gym. I ain't got anywhere to train. I'm busy because it's Christmas, or I've got an injury, so I'm not going to train. Never, ever, ever stop. So just plugging away, whether it's rehab. I've had a few injuries. In 12 years of pushing hard at CrossFit, I've hurt my back twice. I haven't broken my back. I literally just sprained it a little bit. I've had a couple of shoulder issues, little bits and bobs. And I just, like now, I've got a broken femur, I haven't stopped training. I just never stop training. So consistency is everything. It is literally the key that unlocks everything.
Yeah.
In any sport, right? You just got to be super consistent. And then with consistency comes very slow, gradual progression. Like the amount of hours I put into it is ridiculous, right? And then eventually you kind of like entered my first competition maybe 3 years after starting CrossFit, and I still really couldn't run. I could, but it was absolutely abysmal, because it just destroyed my
painful?
knee.
Yeah,
my knee and everything blew up and all that. But and the mechanics of my legs. But you just work around everything. And CrossFit is different now as well. It was different then. Like it was, like I say, it's not better or worse. It was different. If you want to turn to a competition, there was no like scaled, mega scaled, all those categories. It was, this is the competition. You have to be able to do everything at these weights. If you're not good enough, you don't get in.
Yeah, you don't enter.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, you might enter, but you just fucking don't qualify. So I did that many times and didn't qualify. And then I think it was something like the Battle of London or something it was called. It was big, or it was the Athlete Games or something. There was like 100 people trying to qualify from all over Europe. And, I tried to qualify for these kind of things loads of times and come like 200th and not made it, or, 150th. And then I would see those as like, I'm getting better. I'm now not 200th, I'm 150th. Oh, now I'm 120th. And then the next time I'd enter, I qualified 97th out of 100. And I'd be buzzing to go there and try to not be 97th.
Yeah. Beat your way every qualified.
Yeah, and I'd probably finish like 85th or something, buzzing. Like, and then it's just those little, and I was over 35 then, remember, as well. So I'd have been like nearly 40, I'd have been like 38 or something, and you're against 20-something.
Yeah, there's no
masters.
There's no categories.
There's no masters. And there's masters started coming in, but it was definitely over 40s, not 35s. And so, yeah, you're taking wins and being proud of the fact that you were at the show. Yeah. You were at the show as a 38-year-old, like trying not to be last. Sick.
Yeah, it was cool.
I feel like some of that mindset's gone. I literally hear people that are very capable athletes going, I don't know.
Might do scaled.
Yeah, might do scaled, or, I might not win, I'm like, yeah, give it a rest. Like,
Get in there.
get in there. So that's the answer, mate. Consistency, just going for it. Failure after failure after failure after failure after failure, year on year on year on year. Telling people I'm trying to go to the games. Embarrassing when you don't make it.
Did you? When did you think you were going to go to the games, or when did you let people know it was that was in the back of your mind?
I was probably when I was probably 41, 42, started getting a bit better, like 5 or 6 years ago, and I thought, I'll enter the Open, and then there was a 40s category, and I'd be like, 10 or 20 people would go to the games, and I'd be like, I'm like 50th. This isn't insane.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't beyond the realms of possibility anymore. And I tried, and I was like, so I failed so close, like a few times. So I think I was 20 went in like 19, and I reckon I was like 22nd. And then in 2000, these aren't exact numbers. It's all in the history. You can see it in the leaderboards. I can't remember exactly, but roughly. I probably failed by a couple of spaces again in 20. And then I spoke to Mike Catris, who I sort of knew around the scene. He's a good coach. And I got on a program and just filled out some of my weaknesses, and then qualified in 21.
Yeah, so cool.
Qualified like last. In fact, it was 21st for 20, but one didn't go or something, so I picked up his spot. So I'm going to games, and I think I finished like 18th or something like that, or 17th, something. And then the next time I went I didn't try in 22 because I was going up a category or
the following year
23.
or something.
Yeah,
I remember that. 23.
No, I was a little injured or something. I got burnt out right through unintelligent training way before Mike came along.
Yeah.
It was like, and then in 23 I qualified again. A few places and I qualified like 9th, but only 10 people went. Qualifying when 10 people go is savage. I thought I wouldn't qualify.
Yeah.
There's something like 40,000 people in the Open in that category, and it goes down to 10 people. Brutal. And I qualified like 9th, and I think I finished 9th or 8th or something like that. Yeah. And then the 2024. Obviously, the format changed. It came away from the main games and had its own Legends Championship, CrossFit Masters Legends Championship, where 40 athletes qualified, and I felt confident I'd be able to qualify for that, and I did. I think I qualified again, my memory's terrible, 12th, 13th, 14th, something like that. Comfortably inside the top 20 anyway, and I finished inside the top 20 as well. And there was 40 athletes.
Yeah.
I was like, I was looking. I really cocked up. Well, I don't know, cocked up. I tried, but there was a really weird day. I think it was day 2 where I was meant to do really well and I did terrible, and then day 3 I was meant to do terrible and I did really well. And there was a front squat event, the last thing, and I was about 3 side, because on the very last day only the top 20 out of the 40 went through to the final.
Oh, okay.
And it was like a 1 rep max or some front squat, and I put in a great front squat and made it. So I was like, that was my goal, to make the final. Yeah, so I made it, and that was awesome. But and then I knew that would be it for a while because I needed surgery. So. Yeah,
talk about that. So you've gone from not being able to jump on a 5 kilo plate to going all the way to CrossFit Games multiple times, which is like epic. I know how much dedication you put in. I speak to you quite a lot. Constantly driving to the gym, finishing your Thames water work at X time, driving to the gym, getting your double espresso from McDonald's, and then hitting training religiously, which is amazing. To now where you've had to go back into surgery multiple times because of your leg. Can you just give us a quick heads up on what's going on with that?
Sure, yeah. So my leg has never been right since I got blown up, right? I didn't realise how wrong it was until about 2 years ago. So I started getting, of course, you get injured, a massive injury like I had, and it takes half a decade to feel normal, right? So, through all this CrossFit and scaling and rehabilitation and everything, and you get some semblance of normality back, you feel like I'm doing all right now, I'm competing, I'm doing CrossFit, I'm functional, I'm good to go. Always a little bit of knee niggle, but not bad, not terrible. But about 3 years ago, my knees wasn't recovering. My right knee wasn't recovering from mainly running and lunging, which turns out are things that require quite a lot of internal rotation and alignment and good, you need to have a good working leg to do those things. But I can't have MRIs, right? So I went to the doctors and I was like, I need an MRI, my knee's killing me. But I can't have them because I've got too much metal work in my body. I've got not so much the femoral nail, which is a metal rod that runs from hip to knee that holds the femur together, or did when it was fixed. But like shrapnel, there's loads of loose shrapnel in there and stuff. And the magnets in the MRI machines could move it and it could bleed out, whatever. So I've literally been in an MRI machine because I convinced my private insurance company to put me into a hospital with a really wanky old machine that wasn't as powerful. Jen, because the newer ones have got stronger magnets apparently, so there's more risk. So I got some shonky hospital to try and get in, and they bottled it.
You bottled it?
No, they bottled it.
Oh, good. Right.
I was in there, and honestly, there was a clunk, 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 all this, and I sort of went in, and I came out, and I was just laid there for about 5 minutes going, what's going on? What is going on here? And then eventually, it's kind of like doctors sort of came in and went, not doing it.
It's not worth.
We've bottled it.
Yeah. And I blame them.
So I went away like undiagnosed, really. It could be this, could be that. There's only so much you can do when you're not having an MRI.
Yeah.
And but a guy, a surgeon called Johan, joined our gym. He's a military surgeon. This is chance. I'm a lucky man, right? And he's like, I'm in the gym and I'm hobbling around a bit, and he sees like these big varicose veins sticking out of my shin that is basically because some of my arteries at the top of my legs, whatever, are passing, so the blood's running back down, pooling in my shin, all part of that injury and stuff. And he's like, that shin looks a bit wonky, what's going on there? And I start talking to him, he's like, I'm a military surgeon at Salisbury Hospital. I'm like, oh, right. And he goes, we've got a war veterans clinic, like to specialise in streamlining people that have, served in conflict and injuries that are the result of it. No, don't know anything about that. So I get on this scheme like 2 years ago, and under a couple of surgeons who oversee the scheme, and it's brilliant. It's a pathway to support better solutions. It's amazing.
Why don't people know about it?
No one knows about it. Why doesn't your local doctors know just to signpost you there? Well, no one knows about this stuff, right? So again, by chance, I stumble across this guy who's, and what's happened since is they've gone above and beyond with the investigatory stuff for my leg, and through CT scans, sectional scans, and movement analysis and all that stuff, kind of worked out that the bottom half of my femur, imagine your femur is one long bone, where they reset it after the injury and it was nailed, so the rod running top to bottom, they've put the bottom half of my femur is 30 degrees rotated right. 30 degrees. So there's no one to blame, really.
No.
I mean, it's
Could
all
that be
pretty...
muscle over time, started pulling
No, because it was fixated with...
I was trying to help them out there.
No, I think no, because if you think about it, if half your quad and hamstring's missing, everything's a mess, your lines of reference are a little out, aren't they? So now, I don't know. I'm sure they weren't terrible surgeons, right? I've given them the benefit of the doubt. It just is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. So it's set 30 degrees out. So whenever my foot is facing forward, my hip is internally rotated 30 degrees, and whenever I feel relaxed in my hip and it's sat in the right place, my foot's on the wonk 30 degrees, like this, right? So, and I'm constantly being told by physios, by myself, I'm constantly I don't want to squat like that, do I? Yeah. Like that. I want to level my feet, so therefore my hip's internally rotated and squatting's hard to get range. I don't know any of this. I'm just doing what CrossFit say, put your feet roughly here or turn them out. So I'm always a bit on the wonk. Imagine when you're doing things like running or jumping, you can't hold positions. So if you look at, I've got pictures of me at the games where I'm running, you can see my foot's like that. And you think, what a terrible runner. Well, no, my hip's just falling where it should. Yeah. My knee's following line and my foot's out. And that's, imagine the forces through your knee. It's all fucked. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So over time, that's become to the point where the last 2 games I just survived on cortisone injections into my knee, which the surgeon gave to me, knowing that I was going to come for surgery at the end. He didn't just keep giving me these for a laugh. He did it for 2023, and then I came back and he went, right, when we're having surgery, I went, well, actually, can't I go once more? And it's so he's given me these injections so I've had about 4 cortisones in total in my knee. In fact, he never gave me the first one. I was in Tennessee for 2023, And my knee gave way training about a week before the games. And it was a culmination of all this stuff. And I went to the doctors in America and said, this is what's happened. And I got them to give me a cortisone injection. And it really helped. I couldn't walk a week before the games out in America. And then suddenly I can walk and get through the games, right?
That's incredible.
Then I came back and it wears off 2 or 3 months later. And I said to this surgeon, I said, I might want to have another crack at the games, but I'm going to need cortisone injections because it's hurting again. And he's like, if you promise me that you're going to commit to this at the end. He said, well, you don't have to promise me, but I just will stop giving you them. I won't keep giving you them indefinitely. You know, he was like, I'll give you a couple leading into the games next year if you make it, and then we'll plan surgery. So that's exactly what I did.
That's cool.
I had a couple going into the games, and then I had all official sign-off from the games because it's steroidal. And that. So I did it all properly. And then you have to let the joint recover from cortisone injections for about 4 months before you should have surgery. I'm not sure exactly why, but you just do. So I planned the surgery in for December of last year, exactly on the quickest timeline I could. So I had the surgery. The surgery was to remove the femoral nail that's now been in there like 16 years, right? Bear in mind it's titanium, which kind of likes adhering to bone and stuff. It does a good job, right? So the surgery's going to take 5 or 6 hours. What's going to happen is we're going to whip that femoral nail out, cut the bone in half, rotate the bone through 30 degrees, realign it, re-nail it. At the same time, do an arthroscopy to check out if there's any serious damage in my knee, because I can't have MRIs and stuff. And Bob's your uncle, ta-da, we're done. So I comes out of surgery like 13 hours later. He's gone through plan A, B, C, D to remove this femoral nail. My bone density is so dense. He capped all the screws, and he had the right extraction kits for the right screws because I had all my medical notes and gave him. And he's just everything. The screws have had to be drilled out because the bone adhesion's so dense. The femoral nail took like 8 hours to get out. There's massive trauma. We pulled all over.
Doing it?
Terrible. Honestly, we laughed about it since. He said like. He was like flapping, like fucking sweating his ass off.
He thought he was getting home for dinner.
He thought he was getting home for dinner, no chance, right? So it's a nightmare. But it's got done. It just takes 12 or 13 hours instead of 5 or 6. And then I'm on the recovery journey over Christmas. And then just like following all the right protocols and stuff. And then come in and I'm having, obviously regular x-rays. I had x-rays then in like February, April, good follow-ups, all that sort of stuff. Got in with Wessex Rehabilitation, who are in Salisbury Hospital as well. They're a specialist like rehab unit where they've got like zero gravity runners and a real good team and stuff there. And just under doctors' sort of guidance, under the surgeon's guidance, my own rehabilitation and the Wessex Rehab team trying to like fast track me or just recover sensibly. Yep. So I'm getting. It's painful, really painful, but it's traumatic, so it is what it is. And I can't walk. I remember going back, I think I'm going to say like June, and the doctor's like, are you standing on one leg yet? And I'm like, no.
It's 6 months, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, why not? And I'm like, because it fucking hurt. I can't do it. My body will not let me do that. And it's x-ray time, so I get my x-rays. Like, oh yeah, it's not, the bone isn't healed. That's a bit of a concern. It's a bit slow. I don't know really why it's not sort of healed, but it just isn't. There's just clear breaks through the cut site still. So we're like, oh, okay. So he's like, right, we need to intervene. So it's braced at the top and bottom with pins. So he essentially, it's a bit more technical on this, but he takes the bottom pin out, which allows the body weight to compress the bones together more, right? Still within a slot, so there's no rotational movement, but there's a little bit up and down, yeah. So with the theory that my body weight pushes down a bit, it creates some adhesion, like diamatization, I think there's a correct terminology for it. And so I go back 6 weeks later, get another x-ray.
So hang on, you get surgery.
So I have surgery. I have surgery number 2.
Okay, surgery number 2.
So go in, remove a screw, hour, half an hour, whatever. I'm out again. Day surgery, see you later. It doesn't feel like it's getting much better, like 6-7 weeks later. I am progressing with rehab a bit. It's painful, but I can start to walk with less of a stick and this and that and just progress a little bit. Still can't really stand on one leg, though. But doing loads of rehab, loads of strength work on my other leg and working within the ranges and the parameters on my right leg. And then go back in after the screws removed, and like 6 weeks later for a checkup. And they're like, yes, it's starting to now, like in the x-ray, you can see it's like frosting over and there's adhesions starting to happen. So we're like, excellent, good. Let's see you in another 8 weeks. It's not obviously fully come over yet, but it's moving the right way. So I carry on with the rehab plan. There's a little bit more movement that Wessex Rehab have told me. I'm following their guidelines. People will see maybe on Instagram me doing some stuff, but some people have been like, you're not overdoing it. I'm like, they're not paying attention. I'm working hard on my left leg. I'm doing other stuff. I'm working hard through direct loading like this, not flexion. So I'm not an idiot, right? But I'm training hard, but within the parameters of what I'm going to do. I may be flirting on the edge sometimes, but I'm not trying to hurt myself, and I know what I'm doing, right? And so, cut a long story short, I went back last week after that next 8 week for another X-ray, and I'm in rehab for 1 hour before my osteo appointment, and I'm walking better. I still can't walk that far, and everything, but I'm walking better, less of a limp. My gait's improving a little bit. Some strength work. I can sort of load bones and stand on one foot. Not really well, but I can do it. Everything's improving. All the metrics going the right way. Single leg press is getting stronger, like body weight now. Like Wessex Rehab are chuffed to go, good. Let's just get you this next X-ray. It's all clear, which it looks like it's going to be. We'll get you in for some intense sessions over a 3-week period to try and get you over this wonky walking and move you on. A bit of a intense period. So it's all good. Now I go in.
So these guys are all happy with you?
All happy, really chuffed. I go in to meet the surgeons, and I'm like, so they're like, sit you down. I get an X-ray first. They've got the X-rays in the back room. They sit you down and go, how's it going? And I'm like, right. So I'm away here. Like I'm walking back. I still can't fully stand on one leg, which is a bit weird. And it hurts to offload. If I put a lot of load, like in a heavy deadlift through it, it's fine. And then when I offload, when I put the weight down, it's like, it's kind of like achy. So, but for a second or two, and they're like, yeah, it makes sense. And I'm like, so the X-rays are all good? And they're like, no, absolutely terrible. Said your leg is as broken as it was like 8 weeks ago, and we need to intervene. So I'm like, what does that mean? And then so essentially what I've got to do now is I've got to go in the next few weeks and have 2 screws going down through the brake site to stabilize the actual brake, and just make sure there's literally no movement. The issue with healing the whole time has been a mechanical issue. It's not like biomechanically I'm useless. Yeah. Like this is finite little movements that somehow are kind of not letting it set.
So they're going to screw 2 more screws through that brake, and just hopefully that's going to
put me back on crutches, put me back a few weeks, back on crutches, and follow the protocols and see how it goes.
So that'll be in a month's time. That'll be a year since you went under the knife.
Yeah, I was hoping to be walking now with a view to trying to run by summer. Not crazy, 18 months after surgery. Yeah. Sensible timelines. It's not going to happen. No. So yeah, here's what it is. Oh man. Keep grafting.
What a whirlwind. What a roller coaster. Emotionally, physically.
Yeah.
Obviously, from being fit and healthy in the army, playing rugby at a high level, to getting blown up, to being one of the stories you told me about with Tony pushing the wheelchair and you kicked off in Birmingham or something. She left you.
So I kicked off at my missus, gobbed off at her because it was all my fault. I was just frustrated. Got an afternoon out from the hospital, so they're like, you can take him shopping or whatever. So she's pushed me around in a wheelchair. I'm like, we're getting rattled all over the place, and I'm all bandaged up. My legs out straight on these like supports. I'm like this, and I'm gobbing off at her because she's rattling the wheelchair too much, whatever. And she's just fucking had enough. She's had a hell of a time. She's had a hard time. Mega supportive, amazing. And she fuck it, then I'll leave you. She leaves me at the bottom of a hill outside the bull ring in Birmingham. So I decided I'm going to, all right, fuck you then. I'm still going to the bull ring. So I try and wheel myself up the hill. And the wheelchair weighs about 35 stone. It's just like a hospital push-around one. I've got no thumb, and this finger's, I'm like trying to push myself on the heels of my hands on the rubber tyres. And I'm like going backwards, going up this hill, and someone comes and gives me a push-up, and it's just a mess. And then I go I just decide to wheel myself off around the corner. And then my missus thinks she's lost me. She's ringing the hospital going, have you seen him? And then, you haven't lost him, have you? And it's all kicking off, and I'm just like round the corner sulking at the ballroom.
Sulking. So, what I mean is like that's adversity, right? What you've gone through is absolutely amazing, and I've got so much respect for you doing that. And then in the meantime, setting up a CrossFit gym, doing great at your business, helping other people through their CrossFit journey, and just even though you've been set back again since, highest level you could potentially be at your age is the highest level of fitness you could be. Yeah. Reset right back down to the bottom. You struggle. I saw you 2 months ago come off your bike with a fucking cane. I'm like, oh my God, this guy. So just utmost respect from me. I think it's so good rehabbing yourself back up, and you always have a positive spin on it, which is great. And hopefully our members, listeners can take a view from that. No wonder what they're going through at the moment. Everyone's got shit going on.
100%. Everyone.
All on different levels, but the worst thing you've ever had experience is the worst thing you've ever experienced. Do you know what I mean? So for you, or whatever level it is, or myself, it's always the worst thing ever. Yeah. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's one thing I've learned from you, Spence.
Well, we all learn that from everyone. We learn from our members every day, don't we? And it's so true what you say, mate. Like, your reality is your reality. And if you're struggling with something that might... You shouldn't compare yourself to other people, because your reality is your situation is your reality, it's your experience. And some things are, terrible. It might seem terrible to one person and a breeze to the other, and vice versa. But it all requires some kind of mental fortitude to get through, doesn't it? And some kind of mindset that, you've just got to dig in and try your hardest, try and stay confident. And gratitude is a massive thing that changed a lot for me. I don't know why I woke up from in Birmingham, from that coma, with an immense gratitude. I shouldn't have been there. And it's never really left me. So some of the things now, when I'm feeling a little bit even some of the psychological stuff I did around performance before going to the games in 23, a lot of it was going back to gratitude. Like when your mind's racing, or you're thinking a little bit of imposter syndrome, or you think you can't, resetting yourself, daily gratitude, 5 minutes a day, just maybe whether it's start of the day, end of the day, just being grateful for the stupidest things around you is a really great way to keep your spirits up and keep you leveled.
That's cool, yeah.
Any gratitude. My dogs are so fucking cool. I love them. I love being able to cuddle my dogs in the morning, or let them into the bed when Tony's not looking. It can be that simple.
You think that's to do help your success?
Yeah, and then suddenly you can't be angry. So you've done 5 minutes gratitude in the morning. I'm so grateful I've got a job. I've got a nice warm bed. I'm going to go downstairs and have a nice coffee. And you go downstairs and you miss it. I'm not picking on Tony. She might be like, you didn't do the dishes last night. And you're like, you can't annoy me. I've just done 5 minutes fucking gratitude.
Bring on.
Sorry, love. I'll square it away. And if you don't do that, maybe you come downstairs a bit miserable.
Yeah,
whatever. And your whole day piles on top. Honestly, you start your day with a bit of gratitude and nothing matters.
Oh, that's cool. It's cool. That's the takeaway.
There's a lot more depth to it. But that's the basic principle.
Yeah. Save everyone loads of money, not going to a sports psychologist.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking your time coming in. We're going to go and train now.
Yeah.
Going to get some training. There's a bit of zone 2 and some gymnastics, you said, would come our way, which is really cool. We'll leave off that leg of yours for a bit.
Biking's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, you're good to go. Yeah. Well, thanks, mate. Really appreciate it.
Brilliant. Lovely, mate. Thank you.
Mate, amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, mate. Did you press record?